We are counting down to the fourth GOP presidential debate, which you'll be able to watch here on the CW and over on News Nation. And in just 45 minutes now, 4 of the leading 5 candidates vying for the Republican nomination will appear on this very stage. They'll be answering tough questions about the most important issues facing our nation.
But the real showdowns happen across the country in less than 6 weeks, starting with the Iowa caucus on January 15th. Here's the calendar. That is quickly followed by the primary in New Hampshire and the caucus in Nevada. And a few weeks later, the crucial South Carolina primary.
Let's start with reporter Elias Johnson, live in Des Moines, Iowa, where the caucus is just right around the corner. Elias.
Shirley, thank you. Good evening to you. Good evening, Dan. Welcome to the heartland, the center of the country, where there's a lot of pride in taking part in setting the tone for the next president of the United States, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. As we focus on the Republicans, it's safe to say if they were not in Alabama tonight, they would be here as they have been for the past year, whether it's walking in parades or flipping pork at the Iowa State Fair. They have spent a lot of time here, and for good reason. Since 1976, Iowa Republicans have had the honor of setting the tone for the nominating process. You don't have to win the Iowa caucus to be successful. The goal for these candidates here in the state of Iowa is to finish in the top 3. If you can do so, you can gain momentum, you are considered viable, and you will likely gain the support you need to continue. If you forgo Iowa, which we know that Chris Christie is doing as he focuses on New Hampshire, that has not proven to be the most successful strategy moving forward. But this is the first contest to be able to really set the tone for the rest of the process. The reason they're spending so much time here is obviously the attention, the accessibility to voters, and how serious everyone takes it here. We don't have sports teams, so we do take this very seriously here in the state of Iowa. And the governor getting involved with the endorsement of Governor DeSantis had a little bit of a boost here in the last month or so for Governor DeSantis. But all Iowans are waiting to hear some key issues for these candidates to talk about. We'll go ahead and send it back to you, Dan and Shirley.
Yeah, we know all Iowans take great pride in setting the tone for the rest of the nation. Thank you, Elias, for that report. And just after a week after the Iowa caucus, the attention then moves to the Granite State for the New Hampshire primary. Reporter Ted Nisi is live in Hollis in the southern part of the state with more on what it will take to win there. Ted.
Well, Shirley, I'm here in Hollis, New Hampshire, where the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women has gathered for a debate watch party tonight. New Hampshire, of course, has been holding the first in the nation presidential primary since 1916, and voters here take their role in winnowing the presidential field very seriously. I spoke a short time ago with the president of the Federation of Republican Women, Elizabeth Gerard.
First in the nation primary is so unique. There is really every election cycle, especially in 2024, as we head into 24, there's a real buzz in the air. And people in New Hampshire, we take our politics pretty seriously. You can find candidates in diners, you can find them walking around, and you get this one-on-one experience that you really can't get anyplace else.
And coming up here from some undecided voters about what they're looking to hear in tonight's debate. Reporting live from Hollis, New Hampshire for Debate Night in America, I'm Ted Nisi.
All right, Ted, thank you. And just 2 weeks after the New Hampshire primary, Republicans will caucus in Nevada. And then comes the all-important South Carolina primary, which has decided many nominations in the past. And that's where we round out our coverage with reporter Kelsey O'Donnell live from Greenville in the upstate. And Kelsey, this is Nikki Haley's home state. She was former governor, but yet she is still a solid number 2, well behind the former president. What are you hearing from voters there?
Absolutely, all great information. We'll get to that in just a minute. Well, here in South Carolina, the winner of the Republican primary has gone on to win that nomination here for the state of the Republicans here in South Carolina in every cycle since 1980, with exception to 2012. Back in 2016, former President Donald Trump won that cycle there and then went on to obviously be our president of the United States. But right now, in recent polls, he is a very strong frontrunner. If you take a look at those recent polls there by Winthrop University, that margin of error is 2.4%. And you want to note, South Carolina has open primaries, which means anyone can vote regardless of their party's affiliation. Again, we mentioned former President Donald Trump, a very strong frontrunner. But we're starting to see Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley gained some traction here in her own state, as you mentioned. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is third in that poll, so he's not too far behind Haley on there. But an interesting note here, the fourth most popular person is Senator Tim Scott, who recently just dropped out, and we're starting to see a lot of people kind of switch their votes over to Nikki Haley. So of course we'll wait to see what turns out. And a lot can happen between now and the Republican primaries here in South Carolina, which is scheduled for February 24th. In downtown Greenville, South Carolina for Debate Night in America, I'm Kelsey O'Donnell.
It will be an interesting race to watch for sure. Thank you, Kelsey. Dan?
All right, Shirley, a reminder, here are some of the busy political dates to keep in mind starting in 2024. 4 big contests in the first 2 months of the year alone. It's going to be a very interesting time with these key dates here. And despite top-heavy polls favoring former President Trump, his fellow Republicans gearing up for a fight.